Welcome back to another reaction for Jack of All Trades, Party of None, episode 3. Opening. Skip. So last time, the last member of the Heroes Party wanted to get us back. But we are more or less gone. Jack of all trades speaks of his ideals. And we are training this new group. Group 10. So let's see how well they do.
俺は実力不足のため勇者パーティーから追放されたという記事が今朝の新聞に載った。いつか来るとは予想していたが、よりによってこのタイミングとは。
Right. So everyone who read the newspaper knows that he was thrown out of the Heroes Party. And he assumes this would diminish his reputation, which it could. And only one of the students needs to read the paper to have the news spread like a wildfire.
あんな記事を読んで、一体どれだけの人が俺を信用してくれるだろう。
Does it matter? Does it? Because if someone from the Heroes Party, one of the strongest parties that ever existed, the one that went furthest in the dungeon, and one of them started teaching my group for some reason, and I find out they got banished from their earlier party, I'm like, okay, why did he get banished? I would be curious. But he still has the skill to... He was in the Heroes Party for all this time. It is not likely that he was so weak that he was a detriment the whole time without being thrown out. So my assumption would be there was some kind of internal stuff, maybe something between the girls and the guys, maybe there are other ideas. Maybe they wanted to try different types of approaches and they clashed. But I would not be like, yeah, he got banished, so he is the same as the level 10 guy or whatever. I would be like, he got thrown out for some reason, but he's still most likely very strong. Strong enough to go down all of these levels.
勇者パーティーを追放されてたのか。
しかも実力不足でって。
昨日は勇者パーティーを抜けたって言ってたのに、追放されたのな。
Yeah, that was a pretty big lie. I mean, technically, they did say they wanted to remove him and he left, so technically, both is right.
なら全然話が違うじゃないか。
おはよう。
オルンさん、
おはようございます。
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 And overall, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because first off, he's only responsible for Team 10. They're the only ones that matter. Second, they could ask Sarah, I believe her name was, if that was fine to have him still be one of the teachers with those news. And if she is saying he's strong enough, he has earned my trust, yada yada yada, then I'm going to believe that because she is pretty famous, they like her. There's no reason to not trust her. Instead of being like, this whole situation, essentially, not trusting him at all. Again, the only ones that are really in a position where they are where they could have a problem with that is Team 10 itself.
おはよう。昨日とえらい違いだな。まああんなに持ち上げられた後だし、戸惑うのもしょうがないか。
事情も知らず本当にすまなかった。
セルマさん。
Selma.
セルマさんが謝ることなんてないでしょ。そんなに慌てたら共同探索を失敗しちゃいますよ。
しかし昨日あれだけお前を出しにして新人たちを煽ったんだ。本来ならもっと慎重に扱うべき事柄だったのに。
俺なら大丈夫です。こちらこそ黙っていたせいで迷惑をかけてしまいました。共同探索はきちんとサポートするので、セルマさんはいつものように堂々としていてください。皆さんも。
オルン。
けどよ、オルンが第94層に到達していたのは事実だろ。
それだけでも本当にすごいです。
だから俺たちは全然心配して。
Again, it's one of those things, even if the Heroes Party would say he's too weak for the Heroes Party, still more than strong enough to be part of an A group party.
ないぜ。
There's no real reason
その
to
通りだ。昨日の働きだって全く問題はなかった。
for his abilities.
今日も頼むぞ。
ええ、お任せを。
おはようございます、オルンさん。お兄さん、おはよう。
おはようございます。
みんなおはよう。
I mean, the little sister has no reason to doubt him. The Dodge tank seems to be happy-go-lucky, doesn't really care much. Only person that cares is seemingly the guy. But most of his stuff was about him saying he left instead of being banished. On the other hand, you cannot really trust papers. You don't know what they write.
今朝の新聞のことは知っているな。
あんな記事デタラメです。そうそう、関係ないよ。
あれは本当なんですか？
まあほぼほぼ事実と言っていい。実力不足と言われれば確かにその通りだ。だから今はみんなが期待しているような勇者じゃない。黙っていて悪かったな。
そんな、どういう。
He did rescue her from like a horde of orcs, so strong enough for that, at least. It's also very strange that he is putting himself down so much. On the other hand, no one really told him at this point how good he is as an enchanter. Selma did never talk about it. No one else. The only ones that gave him feedback were his own team, and they were like, "You are too weak."
いうことなんだよ、一体。
でも、オルンさんは強かったです。
お
多く中枢隊を一瞬で倒しました。
Exactly. So that is mostly why she has no reason to ever doubt him. She saw him in action, and the best way to have him win the trust of everyone back is to showcase his strengths.
絶対に実力不足なんかじゃありません。
ソフィア、ありがとう。ソフィアが言ってくれた通り、お前たち全員を第51層に連れて行くだけの実力はあるつもりだ。俺はもう勇者ではないが、一人の探索者オルンドゥーラとして誓う。俺がお前たちを 絶対に守る。だから昨日と変わらずに全力で探索に当たってほしい。
なんだよまったく。喜んでいた僕がバカみたいじゃないか。
I mean, that is mostly your own fault. Getting excited yourself. Again, the whole idea was everyone was together, right? And they would swap who's in front, taking down enemies. Now they are solo. And in the next frame, I feel like they are back in a group.
今日は第21層から第35層の探索だ。だが俺たち引率者が指示を出すのは中層に入る第31層からになっている。そこまでは昨日と同様新人たちだけで進んでもらう。二人ともよくやった。
What is Enchanter doing?
彼女たちは俺をまだ信じてくれている。よかった。
And it doesn't really matter if they believe in you or not. You are doing your job, they are doing theirs. You don't need them to believe in you. You are going to rescue them if they want to be rescued or not.
第31層に到達。ここからは俺が指示
Interesting, so we defeated the boss again?
を出す。気を引き締めないとな。前方に魔獣の気配がある。みんないいか。キャロライン、ゴブリンたちを引きつけろ。
了解。
Are there like aggro abilities? That she can draw them to herself? Or is it just I am first and they just go for the one that is the most obvious target?
相変わらずだな。ソフィアは後ろの奥だ。はい。ローガンは2人に支援魔術を。
アジリティアップ、テクニカルアップ、マジックアップ。指示と言ってもセオリー通り、やっぱりこの程度なのか。まあいい。僕はやることをやるだけだ。
I mean, he doesn't see anything special, fair. But at exactly this point, it doesn't matter, my job doesn't change. It doesn't matter if he's the best guy, the worst guy, he's useless, he's a genius. You do your job, he does his own job. And you will see.
おお。
Oh.
これでキャロラインは問題ない。
Okay. And what about the other one?
ソフィアの方はあ、何やってんだソフィア。ソフィアはこの前オークに襲われたって聞いた。まさかトラウマになって動けないんじゃ。
You didn't give her any buffs? You are just buffing the front line? I mean, sure, agility, strength, maybe some defense. Give the rear caster also some buffs?
じゃあ助けるつもりがないのか。やっぱりこの人は頼りにならない。こうなったら僕がソフィアを。
アジリティダウン。大丈夫。ここにはキャロライン、ローガンという仲間、そして俺がいる。今のソフィアは一人じゃない。だから落ち着いて思いっきりやってみよう。
はい、やってみます。
He's like, she's already out of juice. Okay. I'm assuming this is after the whole fight. I do like that he, for the sake of training, instead of buffing her, helping her, he's just controlling the battlefield to make it a suitable fighting environment. So next time she's able to potentially work a little bit faster, he doesn't need to debuff the enemy as much. And after a couple of fights, she's able to do that without having any debuffs. Pretty solid idea.
昇級魔術を出すとは聞いてないんだが
おお、ソフィアすごい。うまくいってよかった。
よくやった。いい攻撃だったぞ。
ありがとうございます。
オークへのデバフにソフィアの上級魔術。この人は勇者パーティーを追い出されたはずなのに。
His weakness is still far stronger than you would be able to produce. Because he was still Hero's Party.
何なんだ。
If he was too weak to get to that level, he would have been banished far earlier.
一体。デスタランチュラ。こんなの今の僕たちでは倒せない。どうするんだ一体。
ローガン、キャロラインにアジリティアップとデュラブルアップ、そしてソフィアにマジックアップだ。
またセオリー通りだなんて。
うわ
バカ。
So I guess he did buff Sophia earlier? Didn't really see anything.
いくらなんでも無茶だ。
待て。
なぜですキャロライン。
Why are you not casting your buff?
君が前に出たら不利になる。そのまま背中を切りつけながら飛び越えろ。
了解。
よし、キャロラインはそこで注意を引きつけろ。そいつは毒を持っている。動きをよく見てしっかり避けるんだぞ。
I mean, this is where an agility-like character probably is or defense style is better. Someone who evades a lot instead of taking the hits. Also, I cannot help to see that we switched to CG. I mean, the spider was clear.
Kumo-san, こっちだよ。
ローガン、キャロラインの動きは君にかかっている。サポートを頼むぞ。
はい。
ソフィアはあいつの動きを止めるんだ。
わかりました。
I guess an ice spell? How's an arrow cutter going to pin him down? Fair enough. I mean, he's not dead.
まだだ。ローガン、キャロラインにストレングスアップとテクニカルアップを。
なんで。
Why are you questioning him?
はい。
キャロライン、ダガーで糸を切れ。今の君ならできるはずだ。
わかった。やってみる。
まさかさっきの指示はこれを見越して。
Experience, I assume. He probably knows that whenever the spiders at death's door, they try to use the web more often to trap the enemy. Because essentially the spider doesn't really know that it got attacked by our mage. So it presumes the enemy in front of her is the one that is hurting her. Or
ソ
it,
フィアはロックアローの準備を。ローガンはソフィアにもう一度マジックアップだ。そろそろさっきのが切れる頃だからな。
わかりました。
see? Don't question it, just follow orders.
ローガンが同時に出せる魔術は今のところ3つまで。仕方ない。シャープネスアップ。
おお、やったー、脱出成功。
よし、ソフィア。
ロックアロー。
Does not look like an arrow. But fair enough.
やれやれ。
ローガン、君の支援魔術のおかげでうまくいった。よく頑張ったな。
ありがとうございます。
I mean, he seems to be doing well as a teacher, I have to say. He is supplying them with some encouragement. He is telling them how to fight. I'm assuming he's also going to tell them what they lack. Free support spells at the same time, not ideal. Because you have to identify which one is the most important. So trying to get more of them, probably good start. And then naturally, as he was stating, knowing when to reapply a buff is going to be one of the big differentiators between enchanters. Those that can apply the buff more or less without any downtime, and those who have a little bit of downtime.
さあ、戻るぞ。
And we know that was his specialty, to permanently have the buff applied regardless of the magic resistance. That is his biggest strength, or was his biggest strength as enchanter.
今日もよくやった。明日はついに最終日だ。各自しっかりと休養を取り、万全の状態で臨むように。では。
It is very interesting. The first day was until 21. The second day was until 31, only like 10 levels. And the last day they want to do 50 more levels. That's a lot they want to do on the last day, especially because I'm assuming the higher the level, the harder the enemy, so it is going to be more dangerous. I feel like it would have been a better idea to go until 40 today and then only 10 the next day, but this is how they decided to do it. Maybe it has something to do with the monsters, with the bosses.
解散。
Who knows?
オル、ちょっといいか。いいよ。
ええ、大丈夫ですよ。どうしました？
俺たちこれから飯食いに行くんだけど、俺も一緒にどうだ？
I mean, did you invite Selma? Did you invite any of the girls?
俺のこと本当に気にしてないみたいだ。よかった。
ありがとうございます。ぜひご一緒させてください。よっしゃ。じゃあ行こうぜ。なんか食いたいもんあるか？
So no girls? I mean, that's fine. I'm just asking. I'm asking what I should wear. Should I wear the normal stuff? You know, just day-to-day stuff? Should I maybe take some extra care?
いや、特には。じゃあ、
探索中はあまり話せなかったからちょうどいい機会かな。
Who's this? Oh,
なあ、
they are in a carriage? Okay.
ソフィアは少し前にオルンさんに助けてもらったんだよな。
そうだよ。新しく見つかった迷宮
I assume he doesn't. He should know that Orhun is an enchanter. He should know that. He should be more surprised that he is a swordsman, but he should know he is an enchanter because, you know, it's a hero's party, you know what everyone does. He got kicked out for someone better, so is the. They in the article, which he seemingly read, I'm assuming. It probably states that he's also an enchanter, so I'm guessing he knows he's an enchanter.
で3日前に。
その時オルンさんは一人だったのか？なら教えてほしいんだ。その時のオルンさんのこと詳しく。
Like a prince on a white horse.
詳しくって。
オルンさんが使っていた魔術とかその時の戦い方とか覚えてないか？
ものすごい風圧の衝撃波みたいな魔術を使ってた。
他には？
支援魔術で剣の強化っぽいこともしてたよ。
シャープネスアップだな。人じゃなくて武器にかける支援魔術だ。
あ、さっきのもそれだね。私のだが急に切れ味が良くなってびっくりしちゃった。
Interesting that she knew that this happened. I would have assumed she would not care or be not necessarily stupid, but more or less tunnel vision to see that her weapons got buffed.
オルンさん、ソフィアを助けた時は剣を使ってたのか？
多くをバシバシ切ってたよ。
魔術だけじゃなく剣でも戦えるということか。
事情はよくわからないけど、勇者パーティーを抜けてから前衛アタッカーにコンバートしたんだって。
コンバートした？意味がわからない。だってオルンさんは今日あれほど完璧な不予術師の立ち回りをしていたのに。
ソフィアはロックアローの準備を。
はい。
キャロライン、ダガーで糸を切れ。ローガン、キャロラインにストレングスアップとテクニカルアップを。
はい。今朝の僕は誤解していた。オルンさんが勇者パーティーから追放されたと知った時は失望したし、期待を裏切られたみたいで腹も立てた。だけどあのオークとの戦いでオルンさんは密かにアジリティダウンを使っていた。
アジリティダウン。
対象の能力を下げる魔術、いわゆるデバフ。あのセルマさんですらほとんど使用しないと聞く難しい魔術だ。でもオルンさんはそれを平然と使いこなしていた。そして第35層でのデスタランチュラ戦だ。あの戦いで僕はフォーメーションの重要性を初めて実感させられた。ディフェンダーがしっかり敵の注意を引きつけてくれれば、アタッカーやサポーターは焦らずに次の準備ができる。
キャロラインの動きは君にかかっている。サポートを頼むぞ。ソフィアはあいつの動きを止めるんだ。
あれが理想の戦い方なんだ。しかもあの人は仲間にかけたバフが切れるタイミングを計算した上、
そろそろさっきのが切れる頃だからな。
デスタランチュラの最後の攻撃まで予想していた。
I mean, the last attack he probably knew because of experience. The other stuff is pure skill. So, again, the weakest member of the hero party is probably still stronger than the strongest AE rank party.
オルンさんは常に戦いの先を読み、的確に指示を出していたんだ。
If I remember correctly, they said that the bunny clan group, whatever, which they are part of, they are like stuck at 74 something, right? They're stuck very far behind the hero's party, which makes him even that much stronger in comparison.
僕なんかと比べたらその差は歴然。
To be fair, he's 10 years older than you, so
なのにどうして前衛アタッカーにコンバートを？
お兄さんは前衛アタッカーとしても強いの？強いと思うよ。朝も言ったけど多く十数体を一気に倒してたし。おお、それはすごい。私も早くそれくらい強くなりたいな。私ももっと強くなるよ。よーし、一緒に頑張ろう。
前衛アタッカーとしても優秀なのか。本物の天才とはああいう人のことを言うんだな。でも僕は諦めない。あの人から盗めるものは盗んでもっと強くなってみせる。
which is a very fair assessment, and this is more or less you accepting and agreeing that he is far superior. And for you to get strong enough to be stronger than Salma, you want to be the strongest enchanter there is. It makes sense that you want to steal whatever you can. If they give it up freely, you are willing to learn. But if they are not, stealing is fine for you too.
ローガン、怖い顔してるよ。疲れちゃった？
違う。明日のために気合を入れ直してた。
やる気満々だね。私も気合い入れようっと。私も。
ここの料理はないつ来てもうまい。
I mean, this doesn't look like heaven food. This looks like restaurant food. I mean, fair enough. The only thing here that looks like normal tavern food is the top right plate, I would say. Everything else here looks like it would be in a restaurant.
いつ来てもうまいんだ。今日は俺たちのおごりだから遠慮なくやってくれ。
ありがとうございます。
でもオルンは勇者パーティーだったから豪遊三昧だったんじゃないか？
そんなことはありませんよ。俺は事務的なこともやってたので遊ぶ余裕なんてほとんど。
Naturally, you are not only the guys that had to step in for an enchanter, doing a good job as an enchanter, you had to do all the busy work as well. Classic.
なかったです。
そうか、そっちもいろいろと大変だったんだな。
じゃあなおさらあの記事はひどすぎだ。いくらなんでもあそこまで書くことはないだろ
う。同感だ。さっさと忘れた方がいいぜ。
そう言ってくれるだけでも嬉しいです。ありがとうございます。
確かオルンって勇者パーティーでは不妖術師だったんだよな。初めて会った時は前衛アタッカーって言ってたけど。
それ俺も思った。実際どっちなんだ？
今は剣士ですよ。パーティーを抜けた時コンバートしたんです。
その理由聞いてもいいか？
俺はもともと勇者パーティーでも剣士だったんです。子供の頃から人一倍憧れてて念願かなってついたポジションでした。
子供の頃からの憧れか。もしかして
Why did you switch from swordsman to enchanter? I also just now realized the heroes party had 5 members. Was it really so hard to get a 6th member, an enchanter, take over his job?
親御さんが剣士でその影響とか。
親ではなく祖父の影響ですね。昔住んでた村に現れた魔獣を元探索者だった祖父がたった1本の剣で倒したんです。
I mean, naturally you have to have a badass in the family, someone who has a massive sword and has all these scars, battle scars. Because how else would you know he's a badass?
その光景に憧れて剣士を目指すようになりました。
なるほどな。でもそこまで剣士に強く憧れてたのにどうして不妖術師に？
勇者パーティーが仮装に行き始めた頃 攻略のペースが落ちたのがきっかけです。
仮想に入ると魔獣の強さも一気に上がるからな。
ええ、ペースが落ちるのは当たり前だったんです。ですが当時の俺たちにはそれが分かっていませんでした。けれど早く先に進みたかった俺たちは当時評価が上がり始めていた不与術師に目をつけました。そしてもともと器用で何でもこなすことができた俺に白羽の矢が立ったんです。
パーティー事情か。でもその結果第94層に到達してるんだから、コンバートしたのは正解だったんだろ。
You never thought about getting an enchanter? Maybe the idea was at the time, because they did say that at that time enchanter got more popular, that maybe there was no other enchanter being able to keep up with them, so they decided to have him convert. But I feel like at some point you would be like, okay, you did a good job. We now have the ability to get a good enchanter. Because we are the heroes party, we should be able to get a good enchanter. They could have maybe even gotten Salma as example. And Orhun could then have switched to the frontline position again. They could have found out, hey, Orhun can more or less keep himself buffed, so the enchanter could then concentrate on the other ones only. And Orhun would then be able to have like a flex role. He can be front attacker, he can be an enchanter, depending on what we need. So I feel like that would have been the best option. They never really told us there is like a limit to how many people you can bring. You could theoretically bring in like a whole clan, like 12 people, to explore the dungeon, right?
いえ、決していい方法ではありませんでした。
え？
俺が不与術師になったとしても攻略を焦らずもっと実力をつけるべきだったんです。
それって
どういうことだ？
すみません。
It is true, they just more or less skipped the progression. They were like level 10 at a level 15 area, and they were like, oh, we are too weak, we need to slowly progress. But instead of slowly progressing, they just skipped to a level 30 area, and now they are stuck.
ちょっと古巣に対して厳しすぎました。これ以上はさすがに言えない。今後勇者パーティーが第94層以降を攻略できる可能性が皆無だということは。
じゃあさ、オルンの理想の剣士像ってどんなのなんだ？
I mean, we saw him. Big sword, badass, killing like a giant boss single-handedly.
このくらいなら話せるだろ？
そうですね。すごい器用貧乏といったところでしょうか。わかりやすく言うと真相だろうと一人で攻略できる剣士です。そういう風になりたいんですよね。
きっとなれるさ。
オルンならな。
Naturally, we had to. As soon as the shower came on, I was like, we are not seeing a guy shower, right? Why would we? Why don't we see that more often? We see girls shower all the time. I mean, see is relative. We don't really see much in these scenes. But a guy, you can show a little bit, show off a little bit more. Give a little bit eye candy to the ladies or the guys that are interested in guys, huh? Why not? You can at least show something there instead of having whatever this is. You see tummy, yay.
共同探索明日で終わりか。お兄さんともお別れになっちゃうね、ソフィア。
Not talking about, I don't know how old she is. Sophia, I feel like she's young. Very young. Other ones I don't know. Because this is not really, even though it looks like it, this is not really for kids. This is for rookies, for people with low experience, right? So you could have kids here, you could have young adults, you could have like 20-some-year-olds as well. It looked more like only kids. It looked like a school trip.
そうだね。あさってからはもう会えないんだ。オルンさん、このまま野天の銀河にいてくれたらいいのにな。じゃあお願いしてみたら？ソフィアが頼んだら入ってくれるかも。さすがにそれは身勝手だし無理だよ。そうかな。ソフィアのお願いなら喜んで聞いてくれるかもよ。セルマさんみたいに。もうオルンさんはお姉ちゃんと違うもん。でもこのまま会えなくなっちゃうのは寂しいから、本当にお願いしてみようかな。
I also, this is one of those, again, I don't know how old Sophia is. You can probably check. Let me do a little googly. Check of all traits. Party of none. Sophia age. I'm assuming 16. But does AI... Her specific age is not explicitly detailed in the general early release promotional summaries. Okay, fine. Sophia Claudel. Age is not mentioned here either. How old was Sophia? 10 years ago? Assassin's Creed, how? I was like, 10 years is a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue, no idea. I cannot help. I'm assuming 16, 14 maybe. But it feels like she likes Orhun. I mean, it's understandable. He's like the prince. He rescued her. He's definitely older. I would like it more if there was something between him and Salma. But we don't know if there's even some kind of romance going on at all. At this point, not really. Just a side note. I mean, overall, 3 episodes in, most of the animation was like still frames, not very great. The spider fight was pretty nice because they started using CG. I don't know if they continue doing that. I know from the manga that we are going to have a somewhat important fight coming up in the future in this season, which I feel like could eat a lot of budget if they wanted to. We will have to see. Meanwhile, I mean, the concept really is very weak again. He gets thrown out because he's too weak, because he switched to a class he was not really used to, because he's normally a swordsman, but then he is supposed to be an enchanter, and they're like, oh, you suck as an enchanter. Secretly, he's doing like really good as an enchanter, which is like the trope. He also did other stuff, seemingly, and I know from the manga that he does a lot of other stuff. He is more or less doing all the papers, or is responsible for the money and stuff, as far as I remember. Which naturally means that as he gets thrown out, a lot of that stuff needs to be done by the rest. All that because you wanted to get rid of him instead of just hiring a 6th person, which is weird from the get-go. You are the heroes party, you have like theoretically no problem getting money, and you are too cheap to get a sixth member. Otherwise, I mean, the training arc, which is most what we had in the first 3 episodes, was fine. I would have liked the very first part where they got ambushed for him to let them experience the ambush. Otherwise, he did a pretty good teaching job. He told them what to do, even though they more or less knew what they needed to do, just to reiterate what needs to be done. He was giving them examples, he was showing a little bit. He also gave them the chance to fight whenever he was pretty sure they would be able to win, like against the spider, and he knew exactly how far he was able to push them, what they needed to do to fight off, as example, the last ditch hurrah from the spider, or that he was slowing down the orc so that Sophia could then use her fire magic. I feel like the weak premise and because we have a lot of fighting going on, but the animation is not great. Again, a lot of still frames. I feel like it's dragging down the show a bit. But it could very well be that they saved a lot of the animation for some of the later stuff. Again, with the spider, even though it was CG, and I know people are going to dislike CG, I thought this was a pretty solid showing. That looked like a solid fight. A lot better than the other stuff we saw in the show, definitely. And even outside of that, I would say that was a very solid showing. I hope that it continues like that. It's going to be hard to say though.